lawnmowers. I'm like right next to these big old beautiful flowers. And I figured it'd be a good backdrop for the video. I am mono solo. But I'll wait till some more get online. I apologize for last night because let me tell you, sometimes I do forget that I do so much. I forget that there's meetings that we be having, and I be like, oh, we had a meeting last night. So please, please forgive me when I do not recall when meetings are supposed to be going on. So I apologize. One of the things I wanted to talk about today, let me get a little bit together. Let me get some documents. You know, House of Reawakening Minds had a beautiful, beautiful segment on Friday, our last holy day. It was a beautiful segment, and the reason why it was such a beautiful segment is because it was in regards to the matriarch, and it was in regards to how, as if y'all act like y'all don't know, how nature really runs, who runs it, and how you are to be acting. Moors, subjects, and anything and everything in between, right? So we have to take responsibility for the things that happen to us, by us, and on our estate. What do I mean when I say that? I did a Facebook Live earlier. No. I did a Facebook Live a couple of days ago in regards to Moors. It was threefold. One of the things it was in regards to is barbershop, talk, church, and it was one other thing. Oh, grandmothers, what your responsibilities are, and elders. Where it relates to government and tribe. And then there was another one, another topic. Oh. It was another topic. It's gonna come back to me as we have this dialogue, for lack of a better word. So let me get my grounding. We Moors have to take responsibility for all of the good that happens as well as all of the bad. And realize while we were sleeping, the North Gate was truly milk and honey for a lot of immigrants, illegal aliens, and foreigners here at Northwest Mexico. Those days are over. Know that. If you don't know it, it sucks to be you. Taj Street Bay did a very, very great broadcast on Friday. He did a great broadcast on Friday because it was talking about the mother's role in society, in government, and in their nation. More, stop looking at the barbershop as well as the churches as the meeting ground for your lack of governmental responsibility and participation. Someone posted something, and it's rare that I speak to the ignorance. Because when we think about word of mouth, when you hear or you listen to individuals, you are supposed to vet and substantiate everything that you hear. Everything that you hear. mothers and elders, you too have a responsibility. For the past 100 years, you have been shirking your responsibility as the matriarchs of the tribes. You've been allowing tribal members, i.e. family members, acting as slaves, to not only violate your heirs, but you yourself are violating your responsibility in our government. What am I saying? I've talked to a multitude of Asiatic women, a multitude of them, as well as sons. And the color purple also brought some things to reflection in regards to the responsibility of mothers and the responsibility of sons. And through our subjugation, there has been a lot of violations, both sexual and physical and violent, that we need to address in our communities, in our societies. Islam. There's been a lot of violence. There's been a lot of physical violence, physical molestation between cousins, uncles, brothers, nephews, and we haven't been addressing that. We've actually been take him.
Okay, come on. He's gonna go. You need to go to the bathroom? Come on. We have to wait.
Our children are the most important thing in our lives. They are second to nothing. I repeat, our children are the most important things and the most important responsibility you have on this manifested plane. What am I saying when I say that? Hello? I'm on the broadcast. What's up? Yes. Wow, what's up? Oh, yeah, work? Where you at? Oh. Alright, if you... We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, just do that and we'll sync up after the broadcast. Islam. It is not okay for us to allow tribal members to violate our children. We have to accept the fact that we have not been doing a very good job at taking care and support and securing our heirs. We've been allowing cousins, uncles, nephews, on both sides, female and masculine, to violate our children. How are we allowing this? Because we're not taking care of them. We're not making sure they're doing okay. We're not making sure the people who may watch them are responsible individuals. We're leaving them open to individuals who prey off of children. And this is where the mothers are really, really responsible. And I say you're responsible because, and what I say, it sounds very, very responsible in regards to the fact that when I listen and I hear things, it's usually a cousin, an uncle, or even a brother of a mother, of the mother, which would be the uncle who violated their children. And my question to you mothers is, why are you, one, justifying it by victimizing your child who's been through the most horrendous ordeal they could ever possibly be in? And that doesn't even matter if they're male or female, because it's happening on both sides. Aunts are violating little nephews and vice versa. And the question is, when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop allowing your children to be victimized because you yourself have been victimized? Now, a lot of people take the sides of adults for a multitude of reasons. Some of those reasons are financial. Majority of them are financial, because the reality is you wouldn't have to do a lot of the things that you do, a lot of the behaviors that you accept, that you condone, if you would just being your proper person and administer your estate. What do I mean? What I mean is, that Moorish American Consulate grid is your beacon light. That Moorish American Consulate grid is your beacon light. Why is it your beacon light? Why am I saying this, and why is this where I think it? Somewhere down the line, we forgot what government is, who can institute it, and who has supreme authority. That's not by accident. That was intentional. That's part of the denationalized, not just of our nation, but of the suppression of the matriarch and the mother. Because government, as Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey, Consul General of the Moorish American Consulate, spoke about last night, Friday night, which broadcast Facebook has either deactivated, deleted out the platform, but I, Sharon Tracy Galvay, Moorish American National Vizier Mohammedan Judge, Vizier Judge of the Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Public Federal Government, command you put it back. So put it back on the platform so people can continue to get their erudite lessons and the fundamentals of what really constitutes government and who's really supposed to be running them. He spoke about who is who, what is what. I don't like when I hear that here at Morocco our babies are being victimized and we sit here and bicker about the basics of things. Like we concern ourselves with what somebody said on social media, what disunity is being created because of it, and we're not accepting the role that we play in the perpetuation of negative energy. We perpetuate negative energy because we participate in it. We perpetuate it because we participate in it. How do you participate in negative energy? If people can't substantiate a claim, what is that in law? If people cannot substantiate a claim, what is that in law? Post it. What is that in law if people can't substantiate a little bumblebee? If people can't substantiate an accusation or a claim, what does that mean? What is that in law? I'm away. Think about it. If you cannot substantiate something you've heard, an actual tangible reality, what does that make that claim? What does it make it in law? Because I hear a lot of people say the Moorish National Republic federal government is not a recognized government. You tell me which one is it. You tell me what government is recognized and what a government is. Because when you make claims, or when you listen to people who don't have the ability to substantiate their verbiage because they're ignorant, low vibrating, or conversos, or immigrants, or, because think about it. We got over 3,000 supposedly Asiatics in the platform of the Facebook group Moorish American Consulate in EMX. Supposedly. Why do I say that? I say that because on Facebook, slander, if you can't substantiate a fact with tangible evidence, it's slander. But more importantly, in law, it's hearsay. In a court of law, if I told you I heard on the street or at the barbershop or at church, I heard at church, the street, at the barbershop, that people going down with these national treasury accounts and paying for conveyances. This is what I heard on the street or the church or the barbershop. How you substantiate it? How you turn it out of hearsay to actual tangible facts? There will be some ways you can do that. Because we've grown accustomed to hearing things, listening, using our ears, to hearing things and not substantiating that whatsoever. Colonialism is a direct relationship of the lack of governmental activities by the indigenous. I'm going to say it again. Colonial activity in any society, any nation, is the result of the lack of governmental principles of these said indigenous individuals. And I use indigenous because if they were national and they knew who they were.
Excuse me, Mr. B.
Correct. Right here?
Right there.
As long as they leave me alone, I'm good. I'm good. We chilling. Me and the bee chilling. As long as the bee stay there and mess with the plants, that's the only reason he there, because he messing with the plants. He'll be alright. I ain't worried about the bee. Islam, no. So when you hear things in church or at the barber shop or on the bus or even just sitting down, you eating lunch, somebody sit here and be like, oh, I heard you got to do the UCC one. I heard that they putting the liens in a box. When y'all sit here and mail your stuff in the mail, they put them in a box. I heard that Mac thing is dirty. There are all these things. You hear a lot of stuff. You also heard you were Negro, colored, and black, and you ran with that. You also thought that you were black and I'm proud. You ran with that. You also thought that fathers actually create children, that the sperm, and you actually heard that the sperm is the baby and not the egg and the mama. Those are just a couple of the things you've heard. But if you would have went past the hearing and the actual study, because I say you hear, you study, and then you discern. You hear, study, discern, right? So if I sit here and say, babies come from orange juice, all you gotta do is drink some orange juice and you'll get pregnant. I guarantee you some people will sit here and drink orange juice and think that they're gonna get pregnant by drinking orange juice. I say that only to say, stop listening to what people say a lot and do this. Put 3 hypotheses together and see which one actually you can substantiate. How do you substantiate it? 1, reading. 2, substantiate it with facts, hardcore facts. You remember in school, you took a class called statistics. You took a class called statistics, and in that class of statistics, you did a hypothesis. You came up with a theorem or a thesis, and you said, okay, what is the probability of this versus that? And you had an error of 3%, but you used a sample. You used a sample of, let's say, 100. So you used a sample of 100. Is that a good sample? Can you use that sample in basic reality and real reality? Like if you got a sample of 100, but there's like 1 billion people on the planet, is that a viable sample? Can that sample be used to substantiate reality? We learned that in statistics. Some of us had to wait till we got to the secondary school, which was the undergrad, to get that training. It's training nonetheless. We use it every day. We use it every day, right? So if you go to the shop, or you go to church, or you go to the tribunal, and you hear things, you hear them. Isn't it your responsibility to study to make sure what you heard made sense? Even in business practice. What we do? If somebody said, oh man, the stock of Nike gonna hit the roof in a month. What would you do if you wanted to invest in Nike to turn a profit? You would do what? You would go on the internet. You would go to the Dunes and Bradstreet, make sure that company exists, and you just wasn't hearing things. See if it was an active company. You would go and download the financial report to see if it's viable, meaning if its assets oversee its liabilities, meaning it has a favorable outcome financially. You'd see if they had any litigations or liens. holding it, obligations, debt. You do something, if you're smart and you just don't go by what people say and what you hear, you would vet it. And then based on what you've read or the research you've done, you'd come up to a conclusion whether or not you wanted to invest or not. All right, let me use another example. We don't use this very well when dealing in relationships. When dealing in relationships, the first thing that you look at is the physical. You look at, okay, I like that person. They look pleasing to me. They look very, very pleasing to me. I like them, right? You don't like them because you don't know them. You think they're attractive. Your nether regions are engaged. You're feeling soft and warm, right? Logically, would that be your only basis for getting engaged in that person? Like, not necessarily engaged. You would sit here and go on a couple of dates, maybe. Find out about them. If you're really smart, and our parents didn't teach us a lot of these things, we kind of jumped into quicksand and was hoping to not sink in terms of relationships that we've been in. And we might sit there and go on date 1, date 2, date 3. By the time date 4, 5, 6, 7, you all attached by then, because you've gotten all involved so fast, you don't even know this person. And some people are like, oh, I knew this person for a whole year. And if you count up how many times you've actually seen them in the flesh, it was only like a week. And then a year later, after the cheating, after the violence, after whatever you've been involved with that person, now you realize you're an a-hole. Well, if you slow down, did some analysis, slow down, you kind of realize that that person isn't a good person for you, but your energy always tells you the truth too, but you ignore that. You go with the visual, you go with their little analysis, you say, can he afford to take care of me? You do all these things, but you never thought to say, do I like him? Does he like me? Does he respect me? Is he a caring person? Is he violent? You don't take none of those things into consideration. Can he pay the bills? Does he look good? Are people gonna like him? Then 5, 10 years later, you're realizing that he was a piece of crap. And this is flip both ways. She was a piece of crap, because let me tell you, sons, you got it rough too. I just have to say, there's a lot of women out there, you got it rough. I'm just saying. Slow down. Slow down. Don't be so quick to be in a relationship, because if calamity happens or trials and tribulations, you gotta make sure that person ain't gonna turn into the wicked witch of the west, whether it's a son or a daughter. You gotta make sure. You gotta make sure. Like, it's cool to be in a relationship and that person, when they're happy, they're just beautiful, but what about when they're mad? Make people mad every now and then. On purpose. See how they react. I do it intentionally. I did it without even trying to a specific individual. And they act like a straight wildebeest. And I was cracking up. I was just cracking up. I was like, gotcha. Because everybody likes to wait that 3 month, that 6 month, try to be all perfect behavior. It's like the what do you call it? That darn serpent. What was that? That little black scorpion. It's like the scorpion. It's all black, sleek. It's cool. You think it's cool. You think it's pretty. You get closer. You get closer, that mother effer stings you, you dead. I'm just saying, slow down, y'all. Stop listening to everything that you hear. But if you're going to listen to the things that you hear, study. So listen, study, then act, whether it is for or against it. But do the study first. The Moorish American Consulate and the Moorish National Republic Federal Government was through Moors who studied, who didn't just listen, but who started through listening. That was a start, right? And then they did the study, like, all right, you said this, wait a minute, let me see. Oh, that's right there. Yeah, that was right. Check. And then they said, wow, Taj Tariq Bey, all those thousands of classes I've watched, slowed them down, read, like I used to say on my broadcast, took me a week to get through one video, 1 week. because I stopped it. I substantiated the information before I moved forward, and then I acted upon it. I didn't just hear and do. That's irresponsible to hear and do. It's irresponsible for you. But some people come into those so-called churches and those so-called barbershops to deceive you. And who cares about you the most? That's a question everybody already knows. Don't nobody care about you more than you care about you. Everybody cares about themselves more than they care about others. And if anybody say, I'll lay my life down for you, you might want to be like, wow, you ain't met me yet. How you come to that? How? Let's dialogue. Let's be honest with one another. People have made such horrible, as well as brilliant business decisions in these facilities. But many of them were horrible. Many of them were life-threatening. You get the government you deserve. What's that saying? If you don't want to learn or to gain knowledge on how to self-govern, there are many people who will do that for you. And not to the betterment of you, but to the betterment of them. What am I saying? We have a lot of people on our land that are violating our babies every day. And you're talking to me about somebody and something you heard or you was listening to. Do you realize? That enrages me to a degree. Because we got babies being kidnapped. We got babies being assaulted on our land, on our watch. Why? Because like the prophet said, for those who go outside of themselves and holds up a false matrix, well, why would somebody want to respect you? Why? Why do I want to respect you when you ain't even respecting yourself? And by being yourself. And how do you be yourself? Well, declare and claim your nationality. Stop acting like color crayon people. And building your empire. Your governmental empire. Because we've talked on previous broadcasts what government means, what state means. And it does not mean what you think it means. It does not mean what you think it means. The only people who can make government and only people who can create states are people in a proper person. Everybody else creates corporate fictions, corporations that are subject to the sovereign. How's that? How are corporations subject to the sovereign? These are basic fundamentals. And they know many of them have miseducated you. That's why they don't worry about you. Because when you get mad, you just get violent. You don't know how to sharpen your blade, and you don't know how to strike. If you own Starbucks, and you went in there, and they disrespected you, what's your recourse? Because all that is here, if you're in your proper person, is yours. Everything. Every building. Everything. Mom. Oh, you can. What would you do? What would be your recourse? Would you just sit here and go on social media and be like, don't go to that Starbucks because they did this? Or would you march outside of Starbucks and just be like, and stop people from coming in? Well, you're spending a lot of energy, wasting a lot of time and energy on something. What would be your recourse? Because you're the administrator, executor, first party creditor. One, you got to know why you are those things. Why government is based on sovereigns, and if the sovereigns don't treat to their government, they lose sovereignty, and they become colonized victims, running around begging people for their own stuff back. And it's easy for them to get it back by just taking this red pen and autographing their name, declaration, and judicial proclamation, and becoming a Moorish American national and being themselves and administering their own state, instead of begging for other people to do it through a corporate fiction, being induced to fraud. You get the government you deserve based on your activity or lack of activity. Now, I'm at Center City, Philadelphia, so I'm looking at a lot of foreigners living off of your virtues every day. They're at all these sky rises, living your life. You've traded places for what? Why did you do that? We got elders, grandmoms and grandpops. What are they doing? What are they doing right now? Many of them still working at the plantations, because you're not going to have a privilege in a society that is living off of your virtues. They need you to be virtuous. They need you to do the things that they need you to do to keep funding themselves. And they use all of your heirs as cattle property, because you're insisting on not giving them the knowledge they need to free themselves from subjugation. Subjugation, you left them. Our elders are scared, many. What are you scared of? We're fixing the sin you placed us in. The false matrix that we've been holding has been robbing us, has been raping us, has been killing us. I'm sorry. What's the question? I'm sorry, I can't hear you, baby.
What are Americans doing wrong for them not to be in a position of the foreign?
Speak louder. Speak louder.
Speak louder.
What are, say again?
What are Americans doing wrong for them not to be in the same position that these foreigners are in?
Okay. He said, what are Americans doing wrong for them to be in the position they're in?
For them not to be in the
For them, say that again?
What are foreigners doing? What are Americans doing wrong for them not to be in the position of other foreigners? That
Okay, so he's saying, why aren't Americans having a life that foreigners are having here at America, right?
And what is causing?
What is an American? Let's start there.
Oh, yeah.
What's an American? Who is an American? Well, it's not just about born. Nope, it's about blood.
Okay, so, a lot of people don't really have ties to their bloodline nowadays.
How they don't? It's very easy to find out what you are.
How?
Yeah.
Ancestry?
Ancestry, blood,
Accent family?
asking your mom and your dad, more so your mom and your grandma. Who's your mom? Who's your mom? What's her descendant?
She said she's evil.
She said she's evil.
No, Hebrew.
Hebrew? Okay, what about her grandmother?
She's Hebrew.
Her grandmother's Hebrew too?
But I don't know the ethnicity. That's the religion. That's, Hebrew's not a race.
They sure ain't.
So
Hebrew is not a race. He's right there. At least he knows that much.
Yeah. So
Right? Where are you standing?
Me?
Where are you standing?
On American soil.
On American soil. Who are Americans?
Us?
Who's us?
I guess the people that are born here.
No, because there are some people that were born here that are not Americans, but think they are.
Okay.
But wait a minute, I don't even think they are. They know they're not. They just know you don't know the difference. You see the conundrum our people are in? One, if you think two individuals that have different bloodline lineage are both Americans, let's say, if you think they're both Americans, therefore you think the government that they've been perpetuating is the actual government, right? What's the government? The United States of America, he said. He said the United States of America is the government. We're in America. To be an American, you have to be born on the soil. So you see, not to make you feel weird about your answers, it's the reality of our youth. Why is that the reality? Because you went to the institutions that told you this. Not only was it the institutions, but it was the social media, as well as all of these other things that your mother perpetuated because she didn't fix your false matrix, which is your false thoughts on reality. She didn't fix it. She didn't fix it, one, because she didn't know. Two, because she lives in fear. What is fear?
Because of
the false information you think is real.
oh yeah.
Fear is the false information appearing to be real. You have a false matrix that you've been given through the institutions as well as the social media that's out there to give you that false matrix. And the purpose of that false matrix is so you won't know who you are, know where you come from. Right. Because if I ask you who you are, you're going to say, you're American, but what more? What's your nationality? African American and Indian. Why do you think your nationality is African American and Indian? Because you do know one continent is what? North America. The other one is what? Africa, right? So how can you be an American African American? How? They're two distinct continents. How can you be that? Who told you that? No, you said it was the Americans. Who told you that? Right, you corrected it because at first you said government, which is etymologically the governing of your mental. So there's someone governing your mental to get you to think away so you cannot defend yourself when they come and steal your things. If someone came in your house and stole your things, how would you stop them from doing that?
I'd fight back.
You would probably what?
Fight back.
How? Call it who? Call who? You call who?
The people who got me mentally enslaved, I guess, right?
All right, let's talk about some fundamentals. You don't know what government is because you've been denationalized. That process didn't start with your mother, but your mother didn't stop it by declaring and proclaiming her nationality and teaching you your heritage. So she left you slave to a false matrix. That's what she did. And then as you grow older, she told you to go out there and get a job. If you want to stay in my house, you gotta get a job. But she gave you a false matrix. Not only did she give you a false matrix, society said, we're not going to give you anything because you don't have the correct skin or the correct look we're looking for. Because we're looking for conversos. What are conversos? Conversos are people who are against themselves and their interests and their nation. So technically, everybody who's outside of themselves is a converso. So you're right now a converso. Because you will go get a job, which you think is a job. And a lot of jobs that people have violate their very nature. But they get them because mommy denationalized them, gave them a false matrix, and now they out there robbing and stealing to make a living. When they own the world's largest estate. And the reasons why all those foreigners are in those sky rises is because you refuse to govern yourself. That's it. Ain't nothing major. It ain't nothing more than that. You have all these foreigners coming here to the land of milk and honey because you refuse to be yourselves. Not saying that you didn't have any help in adhering to that false matrix. Let's talk about the Declaration of Independence. Do you know anything about the Declaration of Independence? Huh? What do you know about the Declaration of Independence? Huh? Of whose? Of whose? You said ours. Whose? Who's they? Huh? Because the Declaration of Independence was specifically for a specific group of individuals that came here. The who? The rich, the wealthy. Man, you gotta go to my YouTube channel. All right. Do you know who Barack H. Obama is? Who is he? Who? Who's former president?
The conversal.
The conversal. Now he adding stuff, right? I'm gonna give you a little education, but it ain't education. I'm gonna give you an erudite lesson, which is to know. An education is to be told. It's a difference. So when you go into an educational system, you're being told how to think, how to act, how to proceed. When you get an erudite lesson, you're getting knowledge not only on how to govern self, but how to live within the government state. Right. I don't know where to go with this, but I'm going to go somewhere. The United States Service Corporation tells you exactly what it is. It's a United States Service Corporation that you think is the United States government that has been providing services to the heirs who refuse to self-govern. And all of the foreigners who are everybody outside of you being a Moorish American national, not by declaredness because you haven't declared it yet, but that's your bloodline. Your bloodline, your nativity, because you are who your mother is Moabite. So you're a Moabite. And no one taught you this because they've been living off of your virtues. And your mother was supposed to know this, and she was supposed to pass this beautiful heritage that you have, but she got deceived as well. Now, there was something called the Declaration of Independence, as well as the Renaissance age of 7-11, where individuals who you think are Americans that are not, they're of the Albion race. And of that Albion race, their classifications are Irish, German, Scottish, Poland, British. They're Albions, aka modern Europeans. Okay? The Declaration of Independence of 1777 was there declaring their independence from Great Britain and forming their own society at Morocco, northwest of Mexum, North Africa, which is this continent. They had a charge to do right by the heirs. Do you think they've been doing that? Do you think they've been doing right by you? Why? What are some of the reasons? Exactly. So them denationalizing you, them teaching you the false matrix through the POWs, was that in your best interest or was that in their best interest? That's why you're not in that sky rising. They're in your sky rising. Because you came outside of your nationality and, and they switched places. They said, okay, we'll govern you. We'll create all of these corporate organizations. We'll create all of these corporate organizations and we'll create applications. And in those applications, you'll sign away your sovereignty for the benefit of having 4 square meals a day, or for the benefit of having a roof over your head, or for the benefit of, or the privilege, let me correct that, the privilege of driving with a license. All the while, When we get you to sign that document, you're signing over your sovereignty and you're submitting to their jurisdiction. And they got you in a lock, in a neck lock, because you don't even know. And even though they have something called statutes, codes, regulations, they don't care because you're property and they don't have to do right by you because you signed over your sovereignty to be property. And when they need to replace a battery with another battery, watch the Matrix. It's talking about you. That's all. The only way you stop being this is by declaring and proclaiming your nationality, gaining your erudite lessons on how to be, and being yourself, which is self-governing. That's it. Because the change is already here. Just make sure you ride that ride. Islam, Mamacita. I'm in the west side. I'm on the west side where the yellow umbrellas is at. I don't know what waterfall you at, but I got the little fall thingies. But I'm where the yellow umbrellas are. Islam. Huh? It might be, but I'm over by the yellow umbrellas. Yeah, Islam. It's hot. I'm dying, y'all. Dying of heat exhaustion. So what were we talking about? We was talking about the barbershop. We was talking about the church. And we was talking about what was the other one? Let's go to my notes. Go to the notes. Okay, the barbershop talk, church, grandmothers and elders, government and tribes. Moors. All you're responsible for is to be yourself. All you're responsible for is to be yourself, be a part of your government, and learn or gain knowledge on how to administer your estate. That is what the Moorish American Consulate grid is all about. It's giving you the degrees, the erudite lessons on how to administer your estate allodially, so you no longer have somebody with a straw sucking your blood. Who's sucking your blood? Everybody. Everybody's sucking your blood. Pastor sucking your blood. Everybody's sucking your blood. Everybody's sucking your blood. Because you refuse to be yourself. And you're going to keep using fear as a reason for why you don't fix it. So how can you be fear of violence, but the violence is all around you, everywhere you go? Our people are being kidnapped. Our people are being used for experiments. Our people are being human trafficked all day long. And all of these institutions that you go to are involved, completely complicit in the activity. But you want to sit here and talk about something you heard on social media. You want to sit here and talk about so-called disunity because of negative information you're pushing to the out there. You want to talk about the false matrix that you have, which is in the form of a church or whatever so-called religious organization you belong to. But if you looked at every last one of them and you stacked up what they've provided for you against what they've taken away.
I hear the music.
Your tribes are broken up. You're horrible to one another. You're violent to one another. All of these things. You seek strangers versus thy own blood. You have POW, you have JOBs that violate the very nature of you.
You the mom?
And you justify it because you gotta pay bills.
Don't leave me. Come on, that's nasty.
This is what you do.
That's nasty rocks. No, it's
I remember historically what grandmothers did. What grandmothers and elders did. What they historically used to do. They used to take care of the children. Used to be able to go over there. If you couldn't do anything, you would be able to go over their house for a meal. They would take care of your children if you didn't have a babysitter. Daycare was not something that you even thought about. But yet, when you look at tribes today, there is absolutely no unity. There is only what you can use, how you can utilize one another, how you can victimize one another, how you allow your significant others or your consorts or cousins or uncles and brothers to molest and sexually assault your children, and then when your children tell you this, you ostracize them as if they did something wrong, only because of the false matrix. And the reality is, he paying bills, he's giving financing to support the false matrix you put your whole line of affairs in, and then wonder when you're about 80, 90 years old, y'all all in old folks home dying by yourself, literally by yourself, because all of your heirs are out there busing their ass to survive in a false matrix you ill prepared them for, while everybody all over the continent, all of them are violating your people, not paying them anything. Gold's on the plan. Nationality is the order of the day. If you're going to continue to hold up the false matrix, you're going to go down with it, because it's already gone, and it's going to take all its property. It's liquidating all of its property, and that includes the human property that's within its vault that you specifically and intentionally placed there. Now, when you look at different countries and you look at how they're liberating themselves through their activity, they're uniting with one another. They're not sitting here trying to figure out who they are because even though they look at their grandmothers and their mothers every day, they absolutely know who they are. Where they sit here and have to be told and listen to everything that people put out there, while we have all of these individuals who come from different countries violating our people in a multitude of ways. That day's over. If you're here at Northwestern Mexican, you will behave or you will leave, either in a body bag or on a ship. Why? Because violations of the people will no longer continue to happen. The matriarchs are here. They're administering their own estate. They're operating their own government. The liens absolutely positively work. If you're questioning their validity, question your own capabilities, and wonder why you have no power. You have no power because you say you have no power. Power comes from you, and if you can't ignite that match, you ain't got no power. You're the starter of it. The pen is just a sample. You don't work. You don't work, it's fine. Just start working. Go and meditate. Do things you need to do. But work. Because our babies need us. What I see is everybody enjoying, everybody that declared planning nationality, everybody that did their grids, everybody that knows how to administer the estate, because the credit instruments are already on their way to those organizations that used to be corporations, but when they leaned, we leaned them out of their corporate activity and put smack credit instruments on the allodial company. So Moors, our work is almost done, really, in terms of putting, it's almost done. What I mean when I say that is, the doorway for you to be yourself is open. is no longer blocked, sealed up, being with hall monitors that are of a different persuasion. All you gotta do is walk through the door. And the only way you're gonna walk through that door is by being yourself. And that's declaring and proclaiming your nationality. That's being a part of your government. That's recognizing and realizing we have work to do. Everyone has to be active in their nationality. Unity is the order of the day. But I shouldn't have to tell you how to do that. You know how to do that. You know how to be in unison with one another. When they had these little teeter bopper things going on, like they got this pink bus across the street where all these little children, y'all will sit here and try to fake the funk like you care about your children for all the type of activities, and y'all be over there faking like y'all like each other, like you like your children. You only get to see them 5 minutes of a month or a day or a week. You don't really get to see them. They out there in the matrix, learning how to be a slave because you said that you just needed a break, so you sent them to school. You think that's their job to watch them? No, they're programming them for their benefit. You're going to send them those places. They're going to program them for their benefit. Sharon Tracy Galbay is free. So too are her heirs. So too are a multitude of Moors who stopped making excuses on why they're not getting their grid done, opened up their binder, did their study, and then contact Sharon for every little thing that goes wrong. Because it's not my job to save you. What did the prophet say? I gave you everything to save a nation. Nation saved. All you gotta do is work. All you gotta do is literally open the door and walk through it. Because it ain't locked. And the door ain't closed. It's open for many to make it. But you gotta come with your intent squared. You gotta come under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You gotta stop violating people. You gotta stop allowing people to violate you. You gotta stop seeking a stranger versus thy own blood. You gotta stop calling people who violate you every day to violate someone else because you called them. Policy enforcers do not work for you. They work for the corporations, or at one point they did. Now they work for the government. Because we will be leading every corporate activity into de jure companies to work for the betterment and for the benefit of the Moorish American nationals. And everybody who think that they don't like how those changes is going to come, well, get on the boat and get off the land because you don't have sovereignty here. What else I said? And don't go to the barbershop for your enlightenment in terms of, just validate and substantiate everything you hear. Validate and substantiate everything you hear. Validate and substantiate everything you hear. Don't go by my word. That Moorish American Consulate grid is a manifestation of about 5-6 years of serious study from grand sheiks as well as nobles who did all the work. I did all the study. I'm continuing to study in a multitude of ways too. And like I told you, if you don't know who you are, just go to chapter 46, 47, 45, 46, and 47 of Circle 7. It'll tell you exactly what your lineage is. It talks about the Canaanites. It talks about the Moabites. It talks about the Amalekites. It talks about a multitude of other tribes that are Moorish American nationals. We make time for everything. Make time for self. Make time for your heirs. Make time for your future. But don't sit here and gang war with Sharon because you're scared. All right, be scared. Have fears. If you're gonna keep making excuses on why you're not going to be active in the liberation of not only yourself but your tribe, then be honest with yourself. Go in the mirror. Tell yourself you ain't worth it. Go in your baby's faces and tell them they ain't worth it. Go to your mom and tell your mom you ain't worth it. But don't sit here and come on Cher's platform debating, because I don't debate. I am the government. I am the law. So too is every other Moorish American national and their proper person. And it's up to you to be yourself and administer and govern your own mental. And don't let other people keep putting false matrix and false paradigms in your head because you refuse to be in honor. Nationality is the order of the day. Pax and some more. Any questions? The United Invasion. So when you see somebody violating your babies, it's your responsibility to get involved. The Sharifa and peace officers, until we do have another meeting, because land acquisition, land in eminent domain, possession, land possession, and doing all of that groundwork so you can go into these companies, grocery stores, and get your conveyances, get your food, have your own your property, allodially claiming land. That all starts with the grid. Your government is doing the work for you. We've done it at the governmental level. We're contacting different, and if you keep watching the website, the United States Service Corporation is done. If you look at the news, it's already telling you ain't got no money. Of course they ain't got nothing. We dried it all up by lien. Because governments are insolvent. Governments, only corporations run out of money, okay? Only corporations. And only corporations can be liened, and only nationals can lien them in their sovereign capacity, because those organizations were structured and they manifested through our autograph. Erudite. It's Erudite. Erudite lessons and degrees. Erudite lessons and degrees. We don't educate. Erudite lessons and degrees, because everybody will know how to operate here at Northwestern Maxim, at Morocco. Everybody will get their subject paperwork if you do not have lineal bloodline ties here, because just because you were born here, do not have status or stand. You have to have blood ties of a Moabite Asiatic mother, not son, mother. Everybody else has to get their subject status documentation, because you will not be able to buy or sell without it. You will not be able to buy or sell without it. And a lot of people is ignoring. What else did I want to talk about? Morris, get your grips done. Do your land possessions. Terminate all contracts. Somebody asked me, they was like, well, if I terminate all contracts, I'm on so-called Social Security or disability or whatever things that people get. Just realize they owe you that plus more. They gave you, like I told you last class, they gave you a crumb and they took the cookie. They gave you a crumb and they took the cookie, because they took your signature and created all types of corporations and even though you're the beneficiary of them, because they wouldn't exist or been able to even be here without your signature. That's why you lien them. That's why you are first party creditor, and they know you are. And that's why all the companies are liquidated. The gold standard means you're in the driver's seat. You're no longer a passenger in your own life. You're the driver, traveler. You're navigating. Are you going to navigate yourself off the road? Or are you going to keep straight? To not only the liberation of self, but to the liberation of your babies that you say you love. If you love them, you're going to do right. And mothers, you're the ones broke this. You the one got to fix it. Ty Street Bay said one thing a long time ago. And even though you don't want to listen to it, he said, mothers, if you want better men, make better sons. He said, if you want better men, make better sons. Mothers, if you want better men, make better sons. What does that mean? That means watch the energies you have, the relationships you choose to partake in, Give them the science. Give them their heritage. Before you even decide to create life, start cleansing your vessel. At least 3 months before you think you want to start having children. You clean it by getting all the impurities out of you. Not only the foods that you eat, the detoxing, but the thoughts. Get all that negativity out, because the negative thoughts are what you're manifesting. Manifest beauty. Whenever you have a negative thought, push it out your mind and replace it with a positive one. This matrix is your doing. Nobody could have created this but you. So it's your responsibility to fix it. And when you have the baby in your womb, when you finally conceive through your own manifesting, give them the science that they need. What am I saying? Read the circle 7 out loud to them while they're in your womb. Only be around high vibrating people. Don't be so negative to your body. Study. But speak out loud so they can hear you. Give them all the training they need. The 101s, the 108s, all the lesson books from Taj Tariq Bey, all the Circle 7, the Zodiac Constitution, the Supreme Laws of Land. That's your curriculum while you're pregnant. Be reading all of that out loud to your child. Record yourself reading it out loud, and then put the earphones on your belly so the baby can hear it. They learn the most in the womb. They learn first in the womb. They're learning everything based on your experiences. Record yourself reading the whole Circle 7, put it on the wall. And just so when you're not in the mood to do it, because you might be busy, let your baby hear it. When they come out, you're going to see something different.
Oh, he's coming back.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Taj talked so extensively about it on Friday. Facebook's going to have it back up within 24 hours. And this is Notice of Intent to Lean if it's not there. The House of Reawakening Minds video from last night from Taj Tariq Bey talking about the matriarch is not back up on social media. Facebook, on House of Reawakening Minds platform by within 24 hours. It's Notice of Intent to Lean. Lean will be done. And then you'll get all those, and you're also committed to get all those fake accounts off all fake accounts. So people who are Asiatic have to have Asiatic photos. People who are Albion have to have Albion photos. No avatars. I want to know who I'm talking to. That's why when you contact me through text message, I tell you to send me a photo, so I know who I'm talking to. Pax et amor, DSM bonum. There are no questions. It's the end of our broadcast. This class will be on Tuesday. No questions. Islam, peace and love. Share the video. Get your grits done. Sometimes, you gotta check your cookies. You gotta check your cookies when you're going into the Moorish American Consulate website, because there's forms on there to request your Moorish American Consulate record number if you've already declared claims your nationality. You got your name, declaration, and judicial proclamation. That's one. To upload your files for the platform, to upload your files, to be put on the public record, the form is there as well. It's there, Morris. I don't want a baby hold your hand on in every process, y'all. I'm not gonna do it. I had a multitude of emails. And if you sent me an email with documents for recording, resend them through the website because we got internal controls involved. Not only is it going to ask you for your MAC number, it's going to tell you, it's going to ask you to upload a photo. It'll ask you for other identifying information. So when the information come in, we validate that the document is accurate. Meaning, if you send it in, let's say your trust declaration, making sure the document is your trust declaration, making sure it's autographed at the end, and it's a PDF. Making sure the Moorish American Consulate record number matches the one we have in the database, as well as the photo. And then we'll record it on the respective Amexem territories page that treats that. Okay? What else? There's a button as soon as you get on the Moorish American Consulate website. On the first page is for a button. One's to order the shirts. Third one's to order the shirts. The top one is declare claiming nationality. The middle one is for subject status paperwork for those who don't have the bloodline of an Asiatic woman, because she's the sovereign here at Northwest New Mexico. Well, I'll cut some more. Peace and love.